again. Are we all here? Okay, that's great. Right then, thanks guys. So we're going to get on with the next talk. I am very proud to introduce a very good friend of mine, who I've had the privilege of working with before, which is Coralie Turpin, and working alongside Jeremy Deller for their very large, impressive installation in Scarborough that we will be seeing on the walking tour promptly after this talk. Come on up, guys.
Hi everybody, I'm really excited to be here with Jeremy today to show you our film, which is actually in the gallery as well, but you may not have had time to watch it last night or hear it because it was so loud in there. So we're going to play the film and then we're going to talk about it afterwards. We've got some slides.
Jeremy, do you want a chair up there?
No, we're coming back down.
I'm going to sit down here. I'll be back in a minute.
We'll watch the film.
Roman Mosaic circa 2025 is a new work by Jeremy Deller working with Mosaic artist Coralie Turpin, and it's inspired by Scarborough's sea life and its Roman history. The Roman history of Scarborough is really visible today. There's a Roman signal station, the remains of which you can see on the castle headland just above the site of the artwork. And the work really is intended to look authentically Roman. It's in fragments, so it might look like it's just been excavated. The work is made up of about 250,000 hand-cut ceramic tiles, and they make up a seascape of the wildlife of Scarborough, both above and below the waves. There's also a Roman wind god in there and a fishing boat. And it's really inspired by these amazing seascape mosaics from Lod and Pompeii. And I think when we look at these ancient mosaics, they give us a really unnerving sense of deep time. They give us evidence of lives like ours and wildlife that we recognise existing millennia ago. And I think if we look forward a similar span of time, then we see a really uncertain future for the nature that we are a part of. The work has this central conundrum in it. It's a piece of contemporary archaeology, really, that both looks like an authentic relic from the past, but also invites us to think about the future.
The local element really is all the wildlife, because we're depicting wildlife that you can see from Marine Drive or is in the water near Marine Drive, or birds that are around. So it's really about the immediate environment. When I thought of a Roman mosaic, I had images in my mind of dolphins, in depictions of dolphins in mosaics, and there are many. So through history, we've been fascinated by that creature. They're clearly seen as special creatures even then, and maybe having magical properties or sort of mythical properties even, I don't know.
Mosaic, I'd say, is probably the majority of what I do now. I like the permanence of the mosaics. The materials they use are really tough. And also it's really adaptable to lots of different styles of work. So you can use it, in this case, I'm going to be using it to make it look Roman. But there's also the little thing of being able to use one unit and repeat that to build up a whole scene. So a mosaic piece might be a centimetre square, but if you're repeating that and changing the colours and patterns and stuff like that, overall it builds up into being, something complete. So it sort of feels more accessible in that way, so anyone can make a mosaic. Jeremy already had the concept of a floor mosaic with creatures from the sea in it, so we sort of worked out roughly what sort of things we'd like in it. And then we've been having quite regular meetings online, just talking about it and gradually getting it how we want it, really. And Jeremy's obviously directing it how he envisaged it, but I'm also contributing into the way that it's drawn and stuff like that. We basically want it to look very old and Roman, and but there's a lot in that. There's a lot in the texture and there's a lot in the design. Trying to work out how to make it look like that.
We want to make something that looks as realistic as possible from the era that we're thinking about, which is sort of Roman era mosaic, so we're trying to create something that has the feel of that and not a 21st century mosaic. So it's actually quite a difficult thing to do. It's sort of unlearning things and thinking about how someone in those times would interpreted and depicted a sea creature. Because, you know, photography didn't exist, so you can't refer to photographs. People saw the world differently before photography, especially with movement and animals and so on. If you saw a fish swim, you couldn't freeze frame it, you had to remember how you saw something. So it's about memory and how it felt rather than how it looked. The emotional impact of an animal rather than the accuracy of depicting one. You know, what effect it had on you. Mosaics were meant to delight. I don't think they're very didactic things. I mean, some were maybe. There's not many big mosaics of battles and so on. They're really sort of decorative, delightful things. And they're meant to fool the eye sometimes. And we're sort of doing that as well. Maybe we're fooling the public, thinking that it's actually older than it is. It's just been discovered, unearthed, as it were. So there's all lots of layers to it. But it's basically something that looks nice and you can spend time with and enjoy. Pretty straightforward, really.
It's just amazing to see it on site now. This whale was the full length of my table in the studio. So when Jeremy came to visit and it was being made, it was, you know, quite an overwhelming size, which was exciting. I had about 8 people working on it with me at that point. So we had to cut it up into squares to get it here, and I was a bit nervous about that, but it's come back together, you can't tell now. So yeah, really, really impressed with how it's come together.
It's bigger than I thought, and I'm very happy with how it looks. I didn't do any of it, by the way. Coralie did it all, not me. But it's great to see it finally. Yeah, and I'm glad we orientated it looking out to sea. So yeah, I'm very happy. It's epic. I think kids will like it. They'll sort of run around it and see little things, observe things, notice things, think of stories maybe that are going on, little narratives within it, and hopefully slightly delighted by it, you know. It'll only work when the public are on it. At the moment, if there's no one on it apart from me, it doesn't count, so it'll be much better when there's people on it. I'd like the public to be slightly fooled by it, maybe initially. I think it's just been discovered. That was my hope. So I still think it might have that effect on people.
It'd be nice to see that again, actually.
It's great.
Although he hates watching himself on there.
We don't really need to talk about anything because it's all there and you're going to see it later.
Yeah.
So
You've seen it now, that's it.
Shall I just say, I'm an artist, a visual artist. I do loads of different things. This is the first mosaic I've made. I make films, performances, all sorts of stuff. A lot with archaeology and history, you know, either recent history or ancient history. I made a scale inflatable version of Stonehenge called Sacrilege that you could go. It's 100 feet across. It's gigantic. That was made in 2012. I'm being heckled already by someone, but that's good. I heard you're a rowdy lot.
What did you say? Shout up. Oh.
We're doing that on purpose.
Okay.
Anyway, I do loads of different things. I'm a visual artist, and I work with history. I work with archaeology, and I make films. I do all kinds of stuff. Look me up.
Yeah.
On Instagram. But I was asked to make a piece of work. Can I just say how it all came about?
Go for it.
Can you hear me now? Yes. You don't have to heckle me. It's a rowdy bunch. I was asked to make a piece of public art, they call it, for that sort of quite strange 1980s Victorian-esque environment. Yeah, you can see it there. First time we went there was all sorts of odd things there that people had left. I won't go into too much detail. And so it's a kind of unloved area, but it's a good place to watch wildlife. And I thought, if you can make a piece of public art, usually public art just gets in the way of the view, doesn't it? it's sort of a big thing just plonked down somewhere, kind of gets in the way. And this was the whole point about this work was about the view out to sea. So I knew it'd be best if actually you couldn't see it until you were on it.
But the floor was very undulating, so I was saying, Jeremy, can't we just make a sculpture? And he said, no, that's not going to work.
Well, no, because then it would have got in the way of it.
Yeah.
It's the view thing, basically. But, so we had a site visit. I met Coralie. She was up for it. And I just thought, well, let's just see what we can do. And it's a kind of unloved, not very nice area, I would say. Sort of unpromising, I would say. But the view is amazing. So you have to bear that in mind.
So, yeah.
This is a real double act, isn't it?
Yeah. So, again, a bit in the context of the sort of how it started is, I think Scarborough got some levelling up money, which was then...
Do you remember that?
Do you remember that? Which was then sort of harnessed by Yorkshire Wildlife Trust, who commissioned a company called Invisible Dust.
We should do a diagram of how this money went really.
Yeah.
And that's in the Virgin Islands all the
And
way.
Invisible Dust are an organisation who commission artists to do projects internationally. And they invited Jeremy to visit the site and make a decision on what was going to happen there. He wanted to do a mosaic, so then I was found to be quite technical in my projects, and I've done some quite big pieces. So I was contacted to be, the person who works with Jeremy. But we
put another slide on.
Another slide.
Right,
So
right.
we started our collaboration
Yeah.
in the design.
I mean, you're just looking for things, aren't you, really? I did want something that would maybe fool people momentarily or trick people momentarily or child or so on, thinking they were looking at something that was genuinely ancient. And so the fragment thing I thought was quite a good way of doing it. Also, it's difficult to make it in one piece because of the curve, of the sort of incline.
It had about 4 drains in it, circular sink holes, sort of hills, and in my mind it became a skate park. But it's actually fairly subtle, actually. But
Yeah.
it was really challenging. We went through a lot of different ways of making it, but eventually we found a way that would work.
Yeah, and I think it was basically my interest in making something that referred to that history, but also looked as much as possible like something that was old and had just been discovered. And even, I thought, well, it would be great to get an English heritage, one of those brown signs that that points to something, really try and trick people. But
Yeah, we were going to do that, put Roman mosaic on the brown sign, just to sort of
yeah.
we didn't quite manage that.
The thing is, it's not a Roman mosaic. It's as I'm sure we'll get a question saying, well, it's such a Roman style mosaic. Well, yeah, that is correct, but you can call anything what you like, frankly. And so I just thought, well, let's just call it Roman mosaic, and that's it, really. So what we're looking at
That's
here?
you pouring a cup of tea in the.
That's about as sort of manual as
in
I
the-
got
in
on the
the
whole
church.
project.
He did do some of the drawings that are in the gallery, but most
The
of them
really
are mine.
bad ones, yeah. Let's have a look at that.
So we were working with the community as well. So we did a workshop on site, and we also did a workshop in one of the churches as part of the Big Ideas by the Sea festival, which Gabby helped me with. But then it was back to the studio and a visit to the British Museum for me to look at the Roman section. And then I tried to start doing some drawings about, around some of the creatures and showing them to Jeremy. And this octopus, it's probably better on the TV screens, to be honest. But it's, I had to colour it in, and I've never done this before. Drew all the tesserae on it so that he could see what it would look like in mosaic. And then we made some more changes, didn't we? So,
yeah, I mean, if anything, what we tried to do was make it less and less sophisticated in the terms of, as I said in that interview, try to make it pre-photographic.
So we made that fish, and that was the fish on the right there was a sample it's in the gallery. We decided, let's make something and see what style are we going for. So we made that, and we thought it was too sophisticated in terms of shading and like movement. We really wanted something a bit more naive.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of those works are naive. They're highly sophisticated, but they're simpler, I think is probably the right word.
So this was like the sort of basic plan that we semi-agreed on, but we knew that we would change stuff as we went along.
There's one major change that we had to make. I wanted to have a person riding a dolphin in it. Preferably a naked child, and because that's what you see in Roman mosaics. But of course, for a variety of reasons, animal welfare and child welfare, we were not allowed to have a naked child riding a dolphin, which is a shame.
Yeah, quite disappointed, weren't you?
Because I wanted that sort of that illusion, but also that the accuracy of that, essentially, in a way. But we did get a god.
Yeah.
Top left. It's top left, isn't it? Yeah.
And we made, so I had this like sense of, you know, when an artist makes a painting, they don't start off with a complete illustration of what that painting's going to look like. You're making it with the paint. So much that I know you've got to put things through planning, I didn't really want it to be the final image. But you're then restricted because, like, you've put that through planning, so why aren't you making it like that? But I still wanted some flexibility in that, and I think we did get that. There was a lot of push and pull, you know, between us and between the curator as well, which is Janine Griffin, who's on the video, and the Wildlife Trust.
Because they were very sort of, no, that bird, you won't see that bird. They wanted sort of accuracy, I wanted fantasy. Hence the child on the dolphin, which they weren't very happy with. In
the top right, the seagulls, we really didn't feel happy about those, did we? But we put them in for planning. And we thought, we'll leave that till later. And the boat also changed quite a lot.
And that's the walrus that hung out in Scarborough. Do you remember him?
The walrus.
Yeah. So, and the fishing boat as well. But you'll see, I think it developed from this even.
Yeah. So we started getting quite a lot of publicity around it, even though it hadn't even been started being made at this point.
Which is the worst kind of publicity, really.
And then we kept meeting up in the studio to look at it, and we did a big, like, black and white print out of it, so we could actually walk on it full scale, didn't we?
Which is called a cartoon, isn't it?
A cartoon.
Yeah.
And we looked at the colours, and Jeremy pointed out that he didn't know which, some of the blues and greens looked the same.
I'm colourblind as well, which doesn't help matters.
Doesn't help. But
we tried to keep to Roman colours on the whole, didn't we?
So we went for, I mean, on a Mosaic people front, we went for the Winkleman tiles, which are very subtle.
You know the Winkleman tiles.
You know the Winkleman tiles.
I love the Winkleman
You
tiles.
do, I know, yeah. So we went for those, but because of the location, this was a really difficult task because we had to go for something like, you know, as stubborn as possible. So we've gone for the 9mm Winkleman tiles, which were bought. There's 60 boxes of like 20 centimetre ones, which you can see in this, we cut up into strips.
We being Coralie.
I and my team. So by this point I'd
gone by then.
He was coming and going. In saying that, he was on the email every single night and loads of Zooms. So it isn't perhaps how you might see it. He was very involved with every single day. I would text him in the evening with
I'd
images.
Wind you up, wouldn't I? Say, no, that's wrong, and hadn't done a day's work on something.
And I'd like hope that he would text me in the morning rather than last thing at night, so that I could like
sleep.
Yeah. So yeah, we cut these into rods, which you can see in the buckets. Jason, my husband, was very good at that, and he got quite into that. And then he was also there was about eight people helping at this point, so a lot of people volunteering. And
community payback, wasn't
just
it?
basically like making the material before. Hang on, I'm on. Just a minute.
Apologies.
So, what we had, I bought this machine from Rome to do it with, which it was amazing. We could fit about like 10 rods in that at a time to, you know. But then they were too sharp. They were really sharp, and if you're putting something on the floor in the public realm, you can't put really sharp things down. So we had the cement mixer going for 20 minutes, timed, to tumble the stuff, to make it look a bit older and more natural.
Yeah.
And there's 250,000 tiles in it, by the way. So yeah, in November 2024, we laid the concrete slab, which was underneath the work, and we'd started the first, what I call Starfish Gate, because this is the first piece of the whole thing that we started. So it was a bit of an experiment to find out, are we going the right way? I started making the one on the top left, and I showed it to Jeremy, and he said, oh, it's too, like you said,
Animated.
too animated. So then below that is the sort of more, it's got some straight legs and some wavy legs. And then I made what I call the David Shrigley starfish, which is top right, which Jeremy really liked, but it was a bit too far for me. So he still really likes that one, actually. Yeah. I mean, we still don't know if we got the right result, but there had to be a bit of push and pull, didn't there?
Can we change it? Can you go and change it today?
The bottom right is the final one. You probably see it again better on the thing. Okay, so we just like went for it at this point. I actually got in touch with Helen Miles, who, as we know, is an expert in Roman mosaics. And I showed her the first, we had a wave design around the edge. So I showed her the first run of that, because I haven't made a Roman style mosaic before, a Roman-esque mosaic before. And she knows all about this. So she came back very kindly and critiqued it and pointed out a few places that I was maybe doing something a bit weird. And I also looked up all these opus, this, that, and the other, and opus everythingum, as she calls it, and all these different ways of making Roman mosaics, and sort of studied that a little bit to help me get back on track. And I got lots of people in to help at this point. So there was people coming and going quite a lot. And yeah, there's 4 corners on the mosaic. So when you go there, you'll see that there's 4 different things in the corners. And one of them, we wanted to do a signature panel. So Jeremy drew the
initials
there and everything. And then me, in my ignorance, reading Beckett, thought of
Father Ted,
and wrote Beckett at the bottom.
It means made in Latin.
But in Latin it means made. So put in my place on that, but it's fine. I'm learning every day.
Yeah.
So then it was like working out. So then it was working out, what text are we going to use for this? Do we want to make it look like Greek lettering? Do we want to make it look like just basic? So I drew the one on the left there, which was a bit too fancy.
Yeah.
And Jeremy said, just let's make it more simple. So this is how it ended up. And he was very kind to, make, as he always does, make sure everybody knows that I was involved in it and it wasn't just his work.
Yeah.
Even put me first before him on it.
I did, didn't I?
You did. Good. On to the goals that we didn't really like. Decided to change it as we were making them, which didn't go down well at all with the Wildlife Trust or the council. But we decided that the goals didn't really look like Roman enough.
No.
And we found these Roman birds. In fact, I think you might have sent me them, Helen, because I said, do you know of any mosaics with birds? She sent these, but the one that you can see there, on the Roman one you can see has got legs, and our one hasn't got legs. But later on, the next morning, it had legs. And the white around it had to be reorchestrated to fit. So you can have a look at that if you go on site. And also, this guy, this lobster, it looked okay in the drawing. This is how it sometimes doesn't transfer well. In making, it looked a bit like a bomb or a something else. So I texted him and said, what do you think of this? Or email, sorry. And we found another one, a Roman one, and this is a kind of a copy of a Roman lobster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so want to say anything about that one?
I think this next one
Yeah,
is the best
go on
one.
then. So yeah. So this is like, we got onto this Roman god, which we'd changed about 10 times. There's a drawing in the gallery with him with massive hair all billowing about. Jeremy was like, no, that's far too like rock god sort of thing. Yeah. So then I got some helpers to like work on the hair, and it was awful. So I had to redo the hair, make it more curly. And then obviously we were like trying to get this like impression of this god blowing. So I got everyone in the studio to like pose as, you know, as that face. And the one on the bottom right is Jason, my husband. I think his was the more more usable one. So we did that, and it ended up like that. So we went back to the Roman techniques. We used the hammer and hardy to like cut and fit the pieces, which nobody liked who was coming in, because like everyone that was coming in hadn't made mosaics before. The idea was that they were like unskilled, so that when I was making all the features and they were filling in the background, and we hoped, apart from Sandrine, who came in to help me a few times, she was probably the only one who'd done it before.
Which may have been what it was like if you're making a mosaic in 2,000 years ago in the UK.
Yeah,
You've just got
yeah.
local craftspeople in.
But however, as they were in and they were working, they got better and better, which was a bit annoying. So I had to start saying, yeah, that line's too straight. Can you just like take that off and put it back? And Helen had said to me, every piece you put down needs to be twisted slightly. And I was like, what? No, we're putting them down. She was like, no, they've got to be, you know. And I did speak to Lawrence Payne as well at this point, not in a toga, I have to add. And he also said this about the twisting of the pieces. So the whole thing was designed so that I could get people to help me. So on this with the whale, it is stripy for a reason, so that people could go along lines and put tiles down even though they were not used to doing it. And then we went over it a lot, swapping over pieces to do sort of like blending the layers together, as you can see in that one. And yeah, the sections got quite big, and this is a 16-foot table, so it was quite impressive at that point, wasn't it, when it was like that. And Jeremy'd been up a couple of times and
tried to change
looked
it all.
at stuff. And then, yeah, we had to start, every week we had to put that section away. So we did it in this kind of scrolling method. So we worked across the table, cut sections off it, dragged it across, unrolled it from the other side, and then we had a new section to work on like the next week or whatever. So we were like we're like putting some plastic on the surface so that we could transport it easily to site, cut it all into squares and put it in boxes to take it to site. But this slide, we worked on this boat a lot, didn't we?
Yeah, I wanted something, I was very specific about what I wanted for the boat for some reason. And we were struggling a bit because it looked a bit contemporary, but also didn't look kind of impressive enough. So we actually went with this sort of galleon almost, design a bit like this galleon on the right.
Yeah, we went back to the Lod mosaic, which that is featured on, and we almost reproduced that, I would say.
We virtually did.
And it had a couple of places on it where there were a couple of flags. So we thought that was an opportunity to
have a bit of fun.
So initially, we were all super excited in the studio because Jeremy had said, what about a smiley face? And we were like, so we put the smiley face on where it is on the top one. But it was quite bold, and it was quite big actually, and it's the one that's on my piece in the gallery now, so I took it off again.
It was too big, and it was meant to be a little clue that.
Well, luckily you emailed at the same time and said, actually, can we move that up to the top?
Yeah.
So it was all fine. So we've made a new one for the top of the flag, which is in a dark grey, I think, rather than a black and yellow. And the yellows, I think there's 3 yellows in it or something to make it a bit more subtle. And it's got a rainbow flag behind it, which we like pastels, so that's good. And in the place where it was going to be, we put the coat of arms from Scarborough, which Gabby was showing earlier, from the all over town, but in the town hall. But that was like quite a big section, and then we got on to the sort of cetaceans, which were swimming above the boat, and there's a few little like gulls around the boat as well. And we were like kind of nearly running out of time by this point, because we'd gone from November when we started it. It had to be installed on the 10th of March, the week 10th of March, so we only literally had a few months to make it, and it's 25 square metres of mosaic in a 50 square metre area, and like I said, 250,000 pieces. So we were kind of speeding up at this point. We got that little time lapse done of it. We were supposed to be of the dolphin, but it turns out it's of the boat. And that just shows those 4 corners. So it's got a few things in there that are sort of relevant to the area. And started chopping up the mosaic into these boxes. So each little like shape that's been circled is like what's in each box. So it's like box 10, box 51, whatever. Jeremy drew a little dolphin in the top corner there, trying to make me go more naive, but
Did not happen.
didn't happen as much as...
I was actually banned from coming up to watch it being
No,
made.
he wasn't. Oh, that's
Because I just
all.
thought, what if he wants to change something? And
If he changes it now, we'll just...
So I didn't really, I didn't see any of this happening.
So yeah, you can see how complicated that breakdown and rebuild will have been. And there's all the lot of the boxes that had to be put into the van in a certain order so that they could come out in a certain order. But we did have a little practice in the gallery in our building, because I work at Yorkshire Art Space in Sheffield. We laid out the entire middle section and some of the corner sections just to see if, because we hadn't seen this together. We'd made it in stripes on the table and it never ever been together. So we had to, we put it all out on the floor, which was quite a big task. I had like very achy thighs after that, but anyway. So yeah, that's just sort of like at the end of the day looking across that. So going forward to like the 10th of March, as we know, there is a region of the year when you can install mosaics outside, and they were insisting that we were having this finished by the end of March for the funding. So I was saying, no, this doesn't happen, and Tracy would back me up on that. Tam would as well, and everyone who does outdoor work. We don't do it outdoors. So I kept putting my foot down saying, I'm not doing it then. But they're like, no, we've got to spend the money by then. So they actually commissioned a marquee company to build us a marquee over it. We had heating.
Security at night?
We had security at night. We had a water butt thing that was
Did you have
there all
chemical
the time.
toilets or anything?
We
or?
had a chemical toilet.
Oh my God.
Some guys were on site renovating the shelter, which was really battered by this point. So they were really kind and helpful to us as well. And I thought I was just going to here you go. I had some tilers there from a company that worked with me. And I thought I was going to, there you go, Scott, there's the next box. Pop that down, will you? No, I was on my hands and knees for nearly 2 weeks, crawling around, chiseling, grinding,
You loved it though, didn't you?
I loved it, but I was absolutely knackered by the end of it. But we did see lots of pods of dolphins go by outside. And the guys are on the roof of the thing shouting, they're here, they're here. We'd run outside and they'd all be going past. So that was really good. So yeah, there's Scott. He looks like the wind god. If only we had him in the studio earlier. And then, so we did all that, and then Scott went home for the weekend, And Gabby and my other friend Dawn came in and helped peel all the plastic off, which was a bit of a pain actually. And then the next day, and the next week, it was grouted by Scott, and then Greg came, who is a guy that I've worked with quite a few times, who's done coloured concrete projects with me. He came because he's a specialist in this kind of stuff, and he put this kind of, like, we talked about this like beachy kind of effect in between, but I'm sure lots of you've seen this on paths and driveways and stuff, but for us it was that sandy.
Something very neutral. Originally we were going to keep the cobbles, which would have been a disaster.
Yeah, I think,
changed.
yeah.
And we did change another thing. Maybe we'll see the images. Like I said in the film, we changed orientation.
Oh yeah.
So we just didn't think about.
No.
It was a very last minute.
It was.
Thankfully, it was fine.
Yeah.
So when you walk in, when you're looking at it properly, you see the sea rather than see this sort of strange structure with
because
cliffs.
We'd drawn it that if you took a photo of the whale the right way up, you'd be also getting the shelter behind,
Which is
instead of the sea.
Yeah.
And now they've put up all those interpretation.
Yes, there's too much interpretation, but you'll see it. But
Yeah.
that was a last-minute decision. It's
It
so
was.
obvious to change the orientation. Also, the cobbles would have been weird around it as well.
And really difficult,
Yeah.
actually. I had to fake make a couple of cobbles in cement where they couldn't actually. See if you can pick them out when you go there. There's also a hidden fish if you want to look for it when you go. So this is just like in the marquee. So this is the day that the council came to sign it off. So this was my day to go home and just die for a bit. And then we had a publicity event a few weeks later, didn't we? And it was uncovered. The marquee had gone and they unveiled it. So we had a lot of people come from the different organisations, from Invisible Dust and from the Wildlife Trust. And we also had lots of children come on the Saturday to have fun there. And lots of my friends came, and some BAMM people came, and some people from my workshops came. And Jeremy and your partner came, and we had a great day, didn't we? And we were also back at the church, which is St Martin on the Hill, am I right in saying? Yeah.
Mosaic's there.
Am I right in saying that? It's a pre-Raphaelite.
Arts and crafts.
Yeah. And it's a great place, a little cafe, and there's, like you could see on that other one, you get knitted tea cozies.
Yeah,
So that is the end of the slides.
Yeah.
Is there anything else
any
we should be saying? Yeah, any questions?
At the back.
Yeah, Gabby.
Can I ask? I can't remember. When we did so there's an octopus and it's with a crab, and I wondered whether that was with a reference to the octopus when the children that we worked with at Friridge, they put an octopus holding hands with the crab.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I would say yes, he would say no.
That's all my ideas. Don't do those children. Maybe. I mean, you've got to do something with those arms, haven't you? Or whatever you call them, the sort of tentacles. So
The idea was that it was having a bit of a...
they love crabs as well, don't they, octopus? They love
Quite a lot of the sections, there's a bit of a friction going on. So, the walrus has got a fish in its mouth, the seal is chasing fish with its mouth open. That was a change that Jeremy brought in. He didn't want it to look too sort of...
Well, you want little stories in it, don't you, really? Well, that is for children, isn't it? So they say, oh, look, this or that. And so there's minor dramas going on. Life and death, really, if you're a crab.
Yeah. So... Yeah.
Can I ask, so beyond like ticking the box for funding things for children and community engagement, did that work influence a lot of what you put into the actual finished pieces? None of them were actually making the mosaic.
I think what you said early on, I want it to look absolutely delicious. Not in terms of we're eating these things, but more...
Delightful.
Delightful, that was the word. Delightful.
Also, when children make things, stylistically, it might be quite close to how things were being made in terms of just how things looked. When children draw, paint things, it's like the real essence of that. creature, that animal, that place, that house. And so I was trying to find the essence of a fish rather than an accurate portrayal of a fish, because like the most fish-like thing you can do, it's something very simple actually. So in a way, children and children's art is quite influential anyway. So I was looking for that sort of sophisticated naivety, I suppose.
And it was feeding into it because we were doing that at the same time as we were drawing the thing. So it was, and we wanted them to see it and be reminded of what they'd done with us. So, well, I did anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, Mary?
You did it in big sections, but then you cut it to fit in the box and transport it. How did you cut it so perfectly in square and be able to put it together without seeing them?
If you could look at my table in the studio, you'll see, Judy's seen it, you will see the Stanley knife marks that went around all those 1 centimetre squares, cutting through all the layers. No, they're interlock. They interlock. Yeah.
It's more like a jigsaw then, almost.
Kind of, yeah.
Wow.
Judy?
Question for Jeremy. Now you've dipped your toe into the world of mosaics, do you think you might be tempted for some future projects?
It's possible. I'm not actively looking to do it. We might work again, maybe. There's possibly.
Potential.
Despite what you've seen on stage, it's such a good relationship. But it's possible. Never say no to anything, any opportunity.
Just a practical question of it. You mentioned plastic on top of each. Which plastic was it? Was it the tiny stuff, really strong stuff?
I'm normally quite eco with all this. I've never used plastic before. I actually used carpet protector. Cheap and cheerful. But after 4 weeks, it's like seriously stuck. So some of the sections are quite hard to peel off. A little bit of heat helped though. I think someone brought a hairdryer. Is that you, Gabby? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Salty seafront location. What did you use to stick it and grow?
We had to go with the recommended adhesive that the company that were advising us suggested, because inevitably they've given us that document to say this is the right thing. And on such a valuable piece, it was important that that wasn't going to come back on me, even though I've got my insurances and stuff. So we went with an Ardex product because they were really excited about this project and the mining one that I did as well. And they were really involved. In fact, the guy, Jeff, came out and worked with us in the marquee for free a couple of days, so to help out the tiler. So it was EG18 plus, EG18 plus, yeah. And it's a silver grey, which had got no colour in it whatsoever. It's an epoxy material. We used it to stick it down and grout it. And it is trusted as a thing, and it's what they recommended. But there was also A64 under that, because we had to raise the sections up a little bit to get the depth for the stuff that went in between, because that had to be 20 mil and the tiles were only 9. So that took a long time actually, setting all that up and grinding it back at the edges. But yeah, technical stuff.
Do you do anything to prevent water sitting on it? Is it kind of...
Yeah, there's still falls in all the directions. There's 2 drains at the edges, and it still all falls towards those, as best as we could do anyway. And it's got a little bit of lithofin on the top just to protect it a little bit.
A little bit of what?
Lithofin, stain stop stuff, yeah. Yeah.
So many tiles are white or very coloured. What will stop it getting dirty as people walk? Will it have regular?
We hope it will get a bit dirty, don't we?
It should have a bit of wear and tear.
We want it to get dirty. A dog pooed on it, didn't it?
A gigantic
poo.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's really disgusting.
I mean, it was diarrhoea.
Yeah. So
at the opening event.
Yeah, it survived that. Yeah. I mean, didn't even take a picture. It was so disgusting.
Yeah, it was
so
really
horrible.
bad.
Yeah.
Someone was like, "Have you just seen that?" I'm like, oh dear. Yeah.
What did you learn about the collaborative process as part of this project that you really can take to whatever next collaboration you work with?
What did we learn about
Did
the
you hear that
collaboration?
question? It was like, what did you learn about the collaborative process that you could take to your next work? I think this is for Coralie.
Both, she said.
All right.
Both, she said.
Oh, I do it all the time. That's all I do is like work with people that...
With Coralie, with Mosaic.
Oh, with Coralie, especially. I basically work with people that can do things well. You know, like Coralie can clearly do this incredibly well. And it's world class. And so, but what did I learn? It's different with it's really about the person. It's not about the technique. It's if the person is willing to sort of go along with you and also maybe change things if they don't look right and understand what you want to do and be slightly perfectionist, but not 100%. And luckily she was, despite me sending her nuts a few times, I think.
Yeah, I probably learned to, I think I was talking about this earlier today, stick to my own thing a bit when I'm doing my own commissions. Jeremy was very firm about the concept being, you know, what it was from the start, and came back to that all the time with everybody. And sometimes when I'm working with a committee to design a sculpture, I'm getting input from a committee. Sometimes someone will have an idea in that committee and suggest it, and actually they're not an artist, they're not a designer, they've just had that random idea that moment, they don't know the practical side of it. So it kind of taught me, so he's kind of encouraged me to stick to what you know is going to work. So I'm harnessing that now. And all you know, powerful women as well, behind me with that.
And a few men.
And a few men, yeah.
But it's basically, you know, you have an idea, and it's trying to keep that idea intact until the final moment when it's revealed. And you're just protecting your idea, basically, and fighting off people or discussing or convincing people that your idea. It's just a very simple idea. So let's just keep it simple. This is what it is. I can describe it to you in 10 words. So let's just remember those 10 words, or whatever it is, in a sentence.
Yeah, it's keeping that truth to that initial, it's like truth to materials, it's like keeping that truth to that initial concept. Let's just hold on to that, so.
Trust yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Get everyone else to trust
Be
you as well.
stubborn.
Sorry, yeah.
What triggered or inspired you to have that idea of creating something that looked older, that idea of going back to the style of the Roman mosaic?
Why did I want to make it in the Roman style? Well, I just thought that was I wanted something that was durable. You couldn't see it until you were standing on it, basically, or around it. So all those things. So what would that be? Something on the floor. So it had to be a mosaic, I felt.
There's a Roman lookout post on the...
And there's Roman villas around here as well. So the Romans were here. So it's also you're creating this story like once upon a time there was a Roman villa here, even though there wasn't. But you're just creating a bit of a story around it, some sort of fantasy narrative. And so I just felt it fits well with the area and with the sea as well. All these great mosaics of sea creatures and sort of the fantastical element of that. And it's all about encouraging people to go and look. Basically, we were making art to encourage people to go to that place to look at nature. So it's about how you look at nature, and you do it through art, and you do it in real life as well.
And there's some telescopes that have been put in as well that are free. A lot of the telescopes you have to pay for, but the ones on there are free, so you can kids and there's even a disabled access one. So we made it. And
you can go on it if you're on a wheelchair. You can sort of wheel around it. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And you don't always see a dolphin if you're there, do you? But
no.
At least you see one in a mosaic.
If you go past the fair with the sea on your right and just keep going round that corner, it's just after that section of stuff. Just as you're kind of coming out of town on the sort of north end of the main town.
You're going to see it later, aren't you?
I'll see it later. Yeah. I just wanted to point out as well, we were talking about this bit at the top, weren't we, when we were on site? When the bit above the dolphin and the porpoise, was where we were like running out of white tiles. And we'd already bought 2 extra boxes. It was really difficult to work out the logistics of like what's the ratio of colours. And I got my 19-year-old child to help me with that, because they're very good visually and maths as well. But even though we'd bought 2 more boxes of white, we were running out by that point, and there was just me and Jason left in the studio, and we were like using up all the crap that had been left behind by everyone else, choosing all the perfect squares. So when you go to site, I want you to, if you can, have a look at that section, and it's all the crap gone in there. But it actually looks more.
I'm sure it happened 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, but it looks.
You can't go to Rome to get something, some supplies, if you're in Scarborough.
And there was probably some person saying, no, put it down, never mind, it's not a square. So, like, I think that looks more authentically Roman, because it looks older, because it's a bit more bashed and stuff.
Yeah, mistakes.
It's quite interesting, that bit. Yeah.
And you're mentioning about the weathering and the normal period. Happy. It's contractual. Do you have a maintenance budget ongoing?
The question is, do we have a maintenance budget?
We have a maintenance contract. The council we have set out what they need to do. It's part of the project, part of the commission was to say, you know, what is the maintenance of this for the future? So we've laid out to them what might need doing, which was, you know, it might need cleaning with soapy water now and again. Don't let stuff get put on it like was on there before. Yeah. Occasionally it might need another bit more lithophene. If anything starts degrading, get us back, you know. So it's just the normal stuff really. But I usually say you just clean it, yeah. Another one.
Hi. This was very different from your normal type of work. And I just wondered whether you're now committed to competitions and you're going to go forward now.
Alex!
and you would do more of them, or once is enough?
I tend to be quite specific to the job that I'm doing, adapting to that and making in the style that requires. So at the moment I've got a year of collaboration as well at the moment, which is why it's perfect that that's our theme this year. I'm working with a French artist to make some Orsoni glass mosaics for a public art project. I'm working with a Japanese artist to make some concrete sculptures, and I've worked with the community for a stainless steel and mosaic, but none of them are in this style. But I have got some of the material left, so I wouldn't say no, because it's going to be used, doesn't it? Yeah.
I know some of the wildlife sculptures for the project, they aren't going to be permanent. They've kind of got 15 or 20 year installation lifespan. Is this one permanent?
Well, yes, the Ryan Gander piece, which is in the castle, is only loaned to Scarborough for 10 years or something like that, isn't it? Is it 10 years? Brilliant piece, actually, but it won't be here forever. Ours is on that site at the moment, but the council leases that site from the castle, the Crown kind of thing. So at some point they could say, we want that land back, and at that time they might want it putting back how it was before we intervened. But so we had to make it, this was part of the brief, was to sort of make it so that if it had to move, it would be movable. However, it is on a massive concrete slab. You'd have to actually, but you could cut it, you know, if you worked really, really hard and you had a lot of lifting equipment, you could do that at some point, but we really hope it just, you know, they can renegotiate and keep it there. But yeah, it's got another 10 years at least. Yeah. Anything else?
Speaking of the Scarborough resident here,
Yeah. Oh, really? Thank you.
It's a real treat and a blessing to have that. And I get so much feedback from other Scarborough residents that they love it. They,
Yeah.
You know, with mental health.
Well, we're very proud. I mean, we're very proud of it, and we love that it's part of the Wild Eye Trail. You know, sculptures and you know, really high quality art. So, yeah, it's a good. Is that it?
Is that it? That's a good
Yeah,
end.
that's it. Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, it's my bag. You put my bag?
Yeah.